Hello and welcome back to part 2 of my informative playthrough of Pathfinder Kingmaker. Now, this is the very beginning of chapter 1, which we just finished the prologue in the last chapter, so we set out now on this long journey to the Stolen Lands. Now, they are all the way over here, so we're going to come to this point here. Now, before we do this, we're going to do a little bit of rejigging. First off, I haven't talked about Valerie. Valerie is a tower shield specialist. You can see from her tower shield there. And if we look at her character, her class, tower shield specialist, fighter subclass, so they gain more defensive bonuses. Mostly this line here, tower shield specialist, getting, for instance, shield bonus against touch attacks, that sort of stuff. So more defensive, less offensive. Now we're actually going to build Valerie more offensive than defensive, so she's going to be half and half, because I kind of think going fully into defensive, sometimes you feel like you've got a spare wheel in the party, and for some of the early game we're going to be quite low on damage output, and Valerie's going to be there to pick up the slack. The most important thing at this level for Valerie is to note that she's got a weapon proficiency bastard sword here, so we'd be kind of inclined to make use of that. And this one here, at 5th level, Tower Shield Specialist employs a Tower Shield in combat and does not take the -2 penalty on attack rolls because of shield encumbrance. That means that until we get to level 5, she is going to be taking a -2 to hit from her Tower Shield. And so what we're going to do is we're going to pick up that shield we stole from Harem and give it to Valerie, and instantly she's got +4 to hit, +4 attack bonus rather than +2. Now, if we just look at her stats here, we can see she's got sky high constitution, and in fact her human bonus has been put into constitution. She's got okay strength, okay dexterity, and a relatively high charisma. There's a lot you can do with Valerie, actually. You can take her in all sorts of paths. I'm going to take her in a damage dealing tower shield specialist. So she's never going to be as good as the other warrior, the other fighter archetypes and flat fighter at dealing damage, but she's going to be more defensive to make up for that. So we can just sort by type. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to swap this breastplate here for Amiri's armor, which will boost her armor class by 2. We are going to put Linzi's leather armor back on, and hopefully that has left us all with light encumbrance. We should have a... Yes, there is one more thing we're going to do here. So you'll notice that as well as Valerie having that -2 penalty to attack, Amiri has also got a -2 penalty to attack because she's using this ginormous sword, which is really cool. It's ginormous bastard sword. That's part of her plot. But for the sake of the early game, we are going to be giving her a longsword there. This masterwork longsword we picked up in Jamandi Eldori's mansion. And that, again, that is going to mean she's got just a bit better chance of hitting. If you didn't know about that, then you would end up with these. In fact, we're going to go all out. We're going to give her this scythe, because isn't that cool? Look at that. Slightly higher base damage, 1 point of extra base damage, and we're still in light. So that's a Jathel's scythe, which we've stolen, and we'll keep her with that. So you can sort of see that extra +2 for Amiri's attack bonus and that extra +2 for Valerie's attack bonus are actually, that makes all the difference in the early game. And I really think it's quite tough for a new player to have those two malices, those 2 penalties to attack bonus. Now, this is a scripted random encounter here with 3 thylacines. This encounter used to be quite infamous because they used to be wolves.
I need inspiration.
Before we do anything, this should have been swapped around before, but hopefully it's not going to be a big deal. So this used to be 3 wolves, and wolves have a trip attack, and if you get tripped, then you get a penalty to armor class when you're lying on the ground, and when you stand up you incur an attack of opportunity, meaning that you could get trapped in a sort of trip cycle, meaning every time you tried to stand up you were knocked back down or killed, and this being the first encounter of Chapter 1 had some notoriety for causing total party wipes, and it's a bit rough, the first real encounter of the game, to wipe out. Now we're a bit risky here because Amiri, I should have swapped Valerie out to the front so she gained aggro, but what we're going to do, we're going to send Alice that way, Valerie that way, Amiri hold position, Linzi,
serves you right.
She's got really low attack, really low initiative here. In fact, let's check it out. We're all quite low except for Alice here. So Daze doesn't work on animals. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull out another ability here. This is Demoralize, which is based on your persuasion skill, and you can use this to try and incur the shaken condition. And when things are shaken, they take a penalty to their attack. So we're going to be doing quite a lot of shaking. So let's just pull out Demoralize there, and we're also going to pull out Flare. This causes Dazzled, which I believe is a -1 to hit, but it does work on things that are immune to both shaken and daze. So let's just rearrange ourselves. Okay, going to turn Valerie in there. Oh, and Amiri's AI is on, annoyingly, so she's used Rage, which has instantly given her a -2 to AC. We're going to attack both together, because if 2 or more of your party member are attacking the same thing, they get a flanking bonus, which is great. We're going to Demoralize.
You offend me.
And we're going to Demoralize.
Any last wishes?
And hopefully Amiri won't get killed. Well, she'll get crit. That's nice. And hit. We've got 1 Demoralized there. We'll attack this one. Demoralize. Demoralize. Nice hit. Successful Demoralize. So you can see, if we look here, they have this shaken condition, -2 on attack rolls. And also it debuffs saving throws as well, so it's good all the way through the game. They've managed to hit endlessly. I'm really annoyed about Amiri's AI being on, because Rage is just really frustrating. So you can see they're rolling against AC 15. They've got an attack bonus, so they only need to roll like a 9 to hit. Let's hope we can kill this thing. No, no.
Away, you rascal!
Poor old Amiri. That's what happens when you attract.
Serves you right.
So we can, in fact, switch Linzi back to
You deserved it.
shooting with her crossbow. Try and hit. It's never going to happen. Shooting into combat. There we go. So yeah, that whole thing went downhill because the AI was switched on. So we're going to make sure that's completely switched off. Rage is... Yeah, well, partly it's my fault for having a poor formation. Partly the AI's fault for auto-activating Rage, which is stupid. Fortunately, we've got a ton of healing potions, so we can just heal up. We can try and skin these, which is the law nature check, and we'd get 1 hide there. Not really worth it. We are heavily encumbered, and that is because Amiri is fatigued, and fatigue kicks in after Rage again. I don't particularly like Amiri's class as a barbarian, but you never want her at the front because she's just going to get absolutely wrecked if anything is attacking her, if she's not hidden behind something. Of course, if you buff her up with Enlarged Person, she can be really, really effective with Rage, and I'll try and demonstrate that in the next fight. So just some tips if you're playing real time with pause. Number 1, turn off AI. Number 2, make sure your formation is looking good, else bad things can happen. and number 3, if you watch me play, you'll sort of see I pause a lot. We're going to try and head off, and there. That should mean we're in medium encumbrance again. So off we go.
The dangers don't frighten me.
So if you remember from the last video, we're heading off to Oleg's trading post while Tartuccio has gone off somewhere else. And we're making this enormously long trek. Of course, if I stop, it is possible you can camp. So if you took a lot of damage in that final fight, you can rest before you go off. But we're trying to save time because we have this 89 days and 6 hours to complete this initial chapter 1, and we're going to try and do it in 30. Here we are, Oleg's. In fact, that's just where we were there. So it's raining, but we don't have any debuffs because it's not a super heavy rain. We can see the palisade here, and for some reason brazier's burning. But we're going to see this. This is Bokken. Save yourselves, fools. He's running off that way.
I'll share my
So
path.
this time, hopefully, I'm going to demonstrate good combat. We are going to make use of our last couple of spells. We're going to make Amiri big. And Valerie small.
What troubles you?
And we're going to advance and see what's going on. Stay in front, Valerie.
If someone annoys you, you either pray or polish your armor. It is why my armor gleams as it does.
Set it like that. There we go.
I'm listening. Here.
So this is again, this is basically our first encounter with non-voiced dialogue, which will now become very common. And these bandits, I'm not going to labour over this too much. These bandits, including Kresley here, are trying to extort Oleg for taxes, and also they want his wife to make them dinner. But Kresley here is the voice of reason. They're just here for the Stag Lord's tax, and then they'll be gone. And Oleg, being, taxation is theft kind of guy, settler in the stolen lands, he's like, piss off. We can ask what's going on. These thugs are robbing us, honest settlers. They say they're taking some tax for their leader, the Stag Lord, but I didn't swear allegiance to any Stag Lords. I pay my taxes to Restov. And Kresley is making quite a valid point that the Stag Lord is very close. And it's his goons who are sat here. And they've noticed us. And she's telling us to go away. And Valerie, being lawful alignment, thinks that it's our job to step in. And what we're going to do is, Alice here, she's such a nice person, she's going to say that she's not interested in bloodshed. And Kresley agrees to leave, which is great, okay? However, these other three are basically going to try and kill us and steal all the stuff we've humped all the way from Restov. So, yeah. And what's it? Kresley there drinks a potion, uses ability invisibility, and off she goes. Now, let's demonstrate some good combat. We're not going to use rage because we've only got 2 rounds left, and once those tick off, we get our post-rage debuff. We're going to try and daze 1, daze 2, and they're all going for Valerie. Hopefully they won't. What's our initiative like? 2, 4.7, 3.3, 0. Gonna attack first. How we doing? Yeah, we're okay. Valerie will flat-footed against the first one. And that's a miss. Because her AC is still 20. Flat-footed. And for some reason they're using power attack. So 1 day is 2 days. And Oleg here is rather helpful shooting. What did they roll? Critical hit. No. Yes. Critical hit with a weapon with a 19 to 20 crit range. Short sword. Saved. Missed. Dead. 1, 2. Keep on dazing, folks.
This is where I step in.
That's a nice hit there, so Amiri. 2d6 plus 6. Now it's 2d6 because she is enlarged. So a scythe is a 2d4 weapon bumped up to 2d6 when you're big. And it's plus 6 because you get plus 1.5 times your strength bonus for a two-handed weapon. Isn't that great? And we can basically switch on to
You deserved it.
never gonna hit Linzi. She because she's getting a penalty firing into combat. Yeah, she's needs 15 or more to hit. There we go. So I guess that's the little counter to the previous bit of combat, in that actually worked out exactly how I wanted to do, and we made good use of our very limited buffs there. We could have, of course, had Linzi do Inspire Courage, which would have meant we'd hit a lot more, but, you know, why make things too easy? So we're going to collect all of this, and I'm going to chat to Oleg. You see, we're moving slowly because we're heavily encumbered. So let's see what Oleg's got to say. Look at tiny Valerie. Oh, you'll also maybe note that we've leveled up here. So, yeah, Cresley, the girl, got away. But that's okay. And they'll come back to punish treason. And this is Svetlana, Oleg's wife. So we can see a little bit of info about how this is an abandoned border fort which they've converted into their trading post. So first of all, before we do any chatting, we're going to do some buying and selling. So we can, down here, we can see we can offer our junk there. That's really valuable. We can also offer our non-magical items. So that's everything we picked up, including that tower shield of Valerie's. What a weight. We should have thrown that away a long time ago. Deal. And to make things easier, we're going to sell some books. Some of them. We're almost there. And actually, I'm going to take off those braces. And we're going to sell them as well, since we don't need them. And I guess we'll sell that too. There we go. 1,500. We're going to spend all our hard-earned money on a suit of full plate mail. And voila! Suddenly Valerie has a semi-respectable armor class. There. And we've got no money at all. That's completely cleared us out. Okay, you see Bokken here. He's returned. But we're going to just go through the dialogue which they've got. So, what can you tell me about the man who ran away from the post and came back? That's Bokken. He's a potion seller. He's actually one of the artisans who we can recruit, the first one, so he's really important. to us, so we're going to hope he doesn't die. He lacks the courage to fight these bandits, but he won't just walk away from us. And let's get to the point. Who are these bandits, and when will they arrive? Staglord's gang, that's who. He's starting to team with bandits like begboats. Beggars, huh? Alright. Basically, we want to know how many there are. And the answer is nobody knows. But there's often 5 or 6, sometimes a whole gang. And they claim they were collecting taxes. Why? Well, that's quite the obvious question, but essentially for the Stag Lord, who set himself up as the rightful ruler of this region, and we are promptly going to dispose. That's the whole arc of Act 1. Okay. And we're going to take this lawful good option. We can pick lawful evil. The safety of your post may have been one of the conditions which Maldi Helgor placed on granting the barony. She said nothing about having to listen to your whining. That is quite the lawful evil option there. And the chaotic neutral ones always feel a bit, forced, in my opinion. But let's take the lawful good one. And they like that. And he says he'll reward us proper, which is good. I believe that's 100 gold pieces, which will be really helpful. So he sort of talks about some traps, some tar, and a box of alchemist fire. Now we have 2 options with this alchemist fire. We can either ask for it and use it ourselves, or sell it for about 62 gold pieces. But we're just going to set it near the gates to blow up the bandits. And he's a bit worried, but who cares? Just go for it. And we can start the attack right now, or we can scout around for these this tar and these traps. Now,
This is my time to shine.
while I've got Alice here, our Fey sorceress, I'm planning on recruiting one other mercenary to fill a sort of gaps. This is really a sort of dual protagonist playthrough, and in order to recruit that mercenary as cheaply as possible, we can't level up Alice until after we've recruited that mercenary. And if we don't level her up, it means the mercenary will, in writing, cost us 500 gold pieces, but in reality will only cost us 100. But we need 500 to cross that threshold. It's like a long-standing bug in the game, but it's almost like a feature, since Alcat must have known it was there and they never bothered patching it. But we can level up our other companions.
Don't hesitate.
So, first of all, let's check out Valerie. Now, Valerie makes a good all sorts of stuff. Her sky-high constitution means she makes a great kineticist if you wanted. But we're going to keep things really simple. This is part of the aim of this playthrough, is for the playthrough to be congruent with the plot and with my vision and with the Alcat NPCs. And so, almost without exception, we're going to keep the NPCs in their original classes. Maybe a little bit of messing around, but certainly on challenging, there's no need to branch away from that, with the caveat that you have to choose your feats well, and you have to I guess know what you're doing. Like it's easy to turn these companions, because their stat outlay is not ideal for the class. It's easy to turn them into dead weight easier, because you're not carried by a really nice stat outlay. But we're going to take level 2 of Fighter here, which gets us a bonus combat feat, and we get this bonus to reflex saves against burst spells, so things like Fireball and that sort of stuff. And it's this bonus feat here that's most important, because so many feats means so many things we can do. No bonuses to ability score at level 2, but we do get some bonuses here. Now, we're basically always going to have a cleric in the party after, you know, a little bit in the future. There's no need to level up Law Religion. We're not going to be using Valerie to demoralize, so we don't really need Persuasion. We're going to stick a couple of points in Mobility because there are few occasions where defensive fighting will come in handy, and you need 3 points in Mobility to benefit from the extra armor class. And we're going to stick the... you can see here she gets all these penalties from heavy armor. And so without taking that stuff off, she's never going to be very good at athletics. And, you know, Valerie is not a point scoring character, so we're just going to level up her Persuasion. Actually, we're going to stick 1 point in... No, that's not worth it. Just stick it in Perception. And for our feat, very common at this sort of stage is taking defensive stuff, and in fact she's already got dodge as a feat and toughness. But we're going to go more offensive, and we're going to just choose weapon focus bastard sword there, which is going to increase. This will grant a +1 bonus on all attack rolls, and that seems really small, but actually, you know, it all adds up. And this will mean she's rolling at +5 rather than... she'll be rolling at, since it's level 2, she'll be rolling at +6 rather than +5. So we're going to go ahead there. It just shows us burst barrier. We're not going to have to defend against fireballs for a little bit. And this bonus here, so you can see she's getting a penalty of 2 for being fatigued, I believe. So if we see,
gather our strength.
Maybe not. Base attack bonus of 2. Yeah, sorry, she's getting a penalty of 2 to strength, which means 1 less attack bonus. So as you can see, it's 5, but when we're fresh, should be 6. So next, I'll do Amiri. So Amiri is a full Bab class, but instead of 20 feats, she gets the usual row of 10 feats +1 for being human, and we get rage powers instead. Now, I think the consensus is Barbarian is a weaker class than Fighter, but we get really good here, this uncanny dodge, so she can't be caught flat-footed, which is really great, so she never loses her dexterity bonus to AC. Of course, her dexterity isn't great anyway, so yeah. But we get these rage powers. We're just going to level her up flat as recommended. We're going to handy to have someone who can do these skills. She gets a penalty from this breastplate, but much easier to take that off than deal with trying to get Valerie to do that sort of stuff. And we'll take Law, Nature, and Perception as recommended. So, rage powers these feel almost half finished in this game, but the best ones I consider are Animal Fury, because it will get you this extra bite attack, and that synergizes with an item in game that will give trip on bite. Bite is at a -5, so it's not as effective early on, but all extra attacks are good. Beast Totem here gives you claw attacks, and we're not really interested in claw attacks. And the next great thing is in my opinion, is Lethal Stance, because this gives this competence bonus on melee attack rolls and thrown weapon attack rolls. Now, we'll see that of course this doesn't stack with other stuff. So, you know, depending on who's in the party, this could be of no use, basically like a personal bard song. But we'll take it anyway, because it unlocks some rage powers the next level of this will increase her chance of confirming critical hits, which is always really good. You can see, again, she
Well,
base attack bonus of 5 because we've got a penalty from strength. Strength reduction meaning that it's not 6. And finally, Linzi. And Linzi, as I said in a previous video, is going to be with us all the way through the game, pretty much. And there's no better use for her than being a bard. I mean by that bards are incredible in this game. So we are going to just level her up as a bard. And we gain a bard talent, which is fantastic. These are extra feats, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, except they're slightly more limited than the full feat selection. So you've got to be a little bit careful, because sometimes you might think you were going to take something to find that it's not available from the list of bard talents. And this is great if you're resisting enemy bards. Yeah. Anyway, skills. So we need somebody to do trickery. We need someone to do stealth. Double that up. We need someone to do our law skills here. So we're going to take both of them. And that's basically my initial outline here. Linzi is going to be covering our law-based stuff. Sorry, our knowledge-based stuff and our trickery and stealth-based stuff early on. We don't need her to do persuasion, fortunately, although if you don't have a charismatic lead, Linzi is a good stand-in. And she's got Use Magic Device unlocked. We will be putting some points into this, but not at the moment, because what we've done is we've chosen to put 2 points into stealth instead. For her bard talent, we are in fact, because we're a bit freer with Linzi's feats than anyone else as a support class, we're going to be taking skill focus trickery. Now the reason for this is that Linzi's dex isn't as high as it could be, and the DC of the traps we encounter is actually quite high, and this little boost of +3 to all checks involving trickery, and once we get 10 ranks +6 is really handy. It's the difference between 50% chance of disarming a trap and 2/3 chance of disarming a trap. So I ummed and ahed over Linzi's first bard talent here, because of course the other option would be to go weapon focus and just have her doing with a slightly higher chance of hitting, or to go combat trick and go point blank shot with the aim to take precise shot next level, meaning she could fire into melee. But the way I'm playing, it's not really dependent on Linzi hitting things, and so we are going to build her very much in this early stage for disarming traps without having to reload, because I don't like reloading. That's all there is to it. Anyway, we get to choose a level 1 spell as well. She's a spontaneous caster, and we got 2 choices early on, in my opinion. We can either take Remove Fear first, meaning we're not going to get feared as much, or we can take Grease first, meaning we can dump people on the ground. I'm actually going to go Remove Fear, then Grease, which means we might, RNG dependent, we might get an encounter early on which kind of shafts us, so to speak. The other option is we could actually take Sleep on Linzi to see about putting people to sleep, but then I'd feel bad because we sort of wasted. We'll be taking Hideous Laughter later as well, just because this is really handy. You can see that this is the Bard spell list, and it's heavier on enchantment spells. For instance, Hideous Laughter is a level 2 spell for a sorcerer. We actually gain it so Alice gains it from Fey Bloodline at level 5. It's really good. But for the Bard, they get it as a level 1 spell. So, Remove Fear. There we go. And done. And we won't be leveling up Alice. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to save. And we're going to see if we can pass these checks. And I will save scum them because I kind of want to show what this fight looks like with these traps. So, in fact, we've passed this one. So we'll use the traps to catch the bandits. There we go. Nice traps.
I'll share my
That was, I believe, a trickery-dependent
I'm hungry.
check, although it doesn't say. So, yeah, sorry, I'll just save up. And
I decree we set
in
up
fact,
camp.
we've recognized the tar as well, so handy. So here's our little mess. So we might as well go for this battle. Oh, there's one more thing.
We should gather our strength.
We can try and convince Bokken to fight with us. Now, this is really funny because Bokken can die in this fight, and since she's an artisan, and since his masterpiece item that he can create for you is an incredibly good potion, stat buffing potion, you really, really don't want him to die. Plus, he also will throw fire bombs, which will catch you in their range. But we're just gonna have a go. Yeah. He hasn't. I'm okay with that. So it means he's not gonna die anyway. So let's see what Oleg can do here for us. Right, let's go back to that possible attack. In fact, we're just gonna wait here. Yeah. Thanks, Valerie. So I went through that a bit quickly, but basically all our companions, give an alignment congruent response. Linzi, well, these aren't the heroics I was hoping to. I don't know what heroics was she thinking about defending these, poor folk as they're being harassed by the Stagler's tax collectors. Yes, so don't let Oleg do anything risky. Oleg, unlike Bokken, can't die. If he goes below 1 health, he just falls unconscious and stands up again. So unfortunately, we can't pre-buff, but what we do get is Oleg throwing that lovely potion, and we'll also get these traps which will spring. The main enemy is this guy Haps Biden, and I will just see if we can bring it up. He's got rapid shot, so he can fire twice a round, which is dangerous. He's got modest. His dexterity is okay. He's not got much. 17 HP, armor's class. Basically, the danger is that bows have a ×3 crit. So if he hits a crit, it's going to hurt. The rest of them are level 1, I believe. Who else have we got? In fact, that was an incredibly lucky roll with the Alchemist Fire. You see, this is, it's managed to kill quite a few of them. So, well done, Oleg. It's nice of you. So we're going to bring Valerie down here because they tend to go this way. We're going to have Linzi activate Bard Song. We're going to have Alice here try and daze
You offend
Haps. And Amiri, you can come over here. So who have we got? So there we go. This one should actually die with the trap or not.
Onwards!
See if we can get that daze off. Linzi's got 2.3 seconds. Oh, he made his will save, as always. Rolled a 19. Close. Gonna bring Amiri in now. Linzi, there we go. That's her Bard Song active. And she's gonna shoot there. Actually, she's gonna daze
This is
there.
where I step in.
We're going to get our flanking bonuses in, and we're going to activate Rage. This one's so annoying back here, but let's One dead.
Let us strike as one.
Serves you right.
In fact, gonna use
You
demoralize
deserved it.
and try and use
Your time is over.
days. There we go. That's fine. Okay. What's your... We're gonna see about charging. And
Any last wishes?
that's that. Make sure Linzi keeps Bard Song up. Everyone in range. Dazed and dead. Easy peasy. And I think that is a good spot to pause the video. We'll pick up all this stuff and we'll talk to Oleg and we'll advance the plot in the next one.